What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Broadway Joel, the voice of Dominican boxing. I am unfortunately coming to you guys with bad news. Gervonta Tank Davis, uh, WBA regular 135-pound champion, is has gotten arrested last night. I believe they posted $1,000 bond, which leads me. It makes me a little bit more like calm that this case may not be as serious as they're making it out to be. The fact that $1,000 bond, excuse me, $1,000 bond for a domestic abuse case with a person with history of this and with a person who's a millionaire, like if I'm not mistaken, the Charlo brother had one of the Charlo brother had a $10,000 bond for a similar case, and that case got thrown out. So I'm not too sure what's going on. I also don't know how this affects because if I'm not mistaken, he's already out on bail from his previous case, where he grabbed he grabbed his child's mother at the basketball game. If I'm not mistaken, he's already out on bond because of that. I'm not sure how him getting arrested in another state and getting bailed out there works against that what happened in another state. I'm not too sure of the details. I'm not a lawyer, but that's what's happening right now. This may put at risk the fight with Hector Luis Garcia. I'm not 100% sure, but if for whatever reason the courts in, I want to say it's Maryland, want to say, hey man, you got arrested in another state, you seem like you're a danger to society, you have to turn yourself in. I'm not saying that's gonna happen. Don't quote me as saying that that's gonna happen, but we don't know. There's a lot of variables, but yes, the fight with Hector Luis Garcia could be in question. I don't have no sources about that, but again, just thinking about it, if the guy's arrested, the guy can't fight. Hopefully, this doesn't affect the fight. I want Garcia to get his money. I want his Garcia to get his opportunity, man. The guy's working real hard. I was at his training camp out in Vegas. Guy seemed very focused, very motivated. Was out in training camp cutting weight through the holidays. Been in training camp for 2-3 months. So I definitely want him to get his opportunity, but unfortunately, yeah, that's what's happening. This fight is at risk. From what I understand, hypothetically speaking, Gervonta cannot make that fight, and Hector. I'm not. They haven't discussed, at least not that I'm aware of from my sources. They haven't discussed a replacement opponent for Hector, but what they have discussed is keeping the event still going on because they have Boo Boo Andrade, they have Boots Ennis, they have Rashidi Ellis, they have the Peterson brothers all on the undercard. So allegedly they're thinking of still moving on with the card, keeping it, off pay-per-view, bringing it to Showtime. But what Showtime has to take into consideration is now that this fight won't be on pay-per-view, if they put it on regular Showtime, this fight actually cuts into their budget. So, if it's a pay-per-view, the pay-per-view, whatever profits they come from that was going to pay the fighters. But if they put it back on regular Showtime, that's going to cut into their yearly budget, and this will affect them moving forward. Also, bringing it back to Dominican news. So that's that fight, and I'll answer all you guys' questions regarding that the Tank versus Garcia fight, because I know a lot of you guys are excited for that. Also, that's a fight that's coming up in a week, so for sure you guys definitely might want to talk and ask about that. But Jermell Charlo versus Tim Tszyu is postponed. And the reason that affects, us Dominicans is Elvis Rodriguez was supposed to be on that undercard against Joseph Adorno. And his fight, since that fight is postponed, obviously the fight with Elvis Rodriguez and Joseph Adorno is also postponed. I feel bad for Elvis. Elvis has been out of the ring since March. I don't get what PBC is doing with Elvis Rodriguez. I really don't think they're making him a priority. I don't think they look at him as a potential star. I don't think that they look at him as a hot prospect or somebody that deserves to be pushed. I think they just look at him like just another Dominican that they're just filling cards with. And I'm like, yo, out of all the Dominicans, this is the guy you should be pushing. Y'all know how high I am on Elvis. Y'all know how I view Elvis as one of the best. I think he's the most talented Dominican. I've said that on the air before. I think he has talent. I don't care that he has one loss. I like Kenneth Sims. Kenneth Sims is a good fighter. He lost to a good fighter. I just don't think PBC sees the vision I have. Look, Elvis Rodriguez, if you follow him on Instagram, the guy knows how to use his Instagram. Posts a lot of pictures, professional looking pictures. Even when I met him out in August in Miami, Hollywood, Florida, for the Garcia, Gutierrez, and Pollo Amador fight, he saw me with my camera, my DSLR camera. He's like, bro, that's a nice camera you got there. Those take good pictures, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, bro, can you take pictures for me? Then text it to me later when you get back to New York. And I want to put it for my IG. So he's very image conscious. He dresses real nice on Instagram, posts these professional looking videos. He's a good looking kid. He scores knockouts. He's exciting. I don't know. To me, yo, you got a good looking kid who knocks people out and knows how to use social media. That's the kid you should be pushing. Like, no disrespect to Rashidi Ellis. And Rashidi Ellis is a talented fighter, but why is Rashidi Ellis on that undercard and not Elvis? I look at Elvis as more marketable. You know what I'm saying? I think PBC has done a horrible job with Elvis Rodriguez, and I don't want to come across like I'm slandering PBC, because PBC, if we're being honest, they're the only ones really giving Dominicans opportunity. There's not one Dominican that's signed outside of PBC that we looking at like, oh man, this dude is killing it on ESPN. I know Top Rank, they just signed Rohan Polanco, who's going to be fighting January 17th on ESPN, actually. He was a former Dominican Olympian. But again, he just signed. This is going to be his first fight. So we're not going to give them too much credit. Let's see how they develop him and how they promote him. But when Elvis was with Top Rank, yo, he was getting pushed really good. He was fighting 3-4 times a year, getting talked about often, was in the running for Prospect of the Year. Like, they were really, really pushing Elvis. They were promoting him. They saw the vision like, yo, this guy's scoring knockouts. This guy has Freddie Roach in his corner. And the significance of that is Freddie Roach is a legendary trainer, everybody knows. And Freddie Roach has been on record saying that he looks at Elvis Rodriguez as the next leader of the wild card gym. Y'all know how legendary the wild card gym is. He's saying that this is going to be the next leader, the same way Pacquiao was the leader back in the previous generation. Like, I just don't agree. I just don't understand how PBC is not prioritizing making sure he's on these cards, making sure he's fighting 3 times a year, making sure that he's a priority. I feel like they're looking at him kind of like, yeah, I mean, whatever. We'll see if we put him on this card and whatever, like, and we'll figure it out from there. It's like, nah, bro. Like, this is the guy you need to push. This is the guy you need to give opportunity to and make sure he's on these big cards. They started off good. They put him on that Canelo undercard. They put him on the Canelo Plant undercard. He fought an undefeated Olympian, a Mexican Olympian, Romero, and knocked him out. Then in his next fight, that was this past March, he fought, I forget the Argentinian guy's name. Yo, and he just looked like spectacular. Honestly, that was the best I've ever seen Elvis. He really beat the fuck out that dude. Uppercuts, bam, bam. Just his uppercut to right hook combo was just nasty that day. He looked super sharp and didn't see it for the rest of the year. It's like, whoa, like really? Like that, like did y'all not see the performance I saw? I just really again, the fight getting delayed this January. January, I believe it was 25th or 28th or something like that. On the Charlo Zoo fight. I'm not blaming PBC. The guy, Charlo broke his hand. That's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, he broke his hand. So the fight got to get delayed. But the fact that Elvis is even in this position upsets me, because I think he's a talented fighter. I think he's very marketable. I think he's a good-looking kid. I think I know he knows how to use social media, and he had a really good push from ESPN. Unfortunately, he took the loss and he got released. But and man, that was very costly, man. Him getting released by Top Rank, where they had the vision, they saw they saw what I was seeing, man. The kid was spectacular, man. Like, just look up his highlights and shit. Like, he just jumps off the screen, southpaw with a beautiful right hook. You know what I'm saying? Very patient. Yeah, he took a loss. Okay, why? Well, how come nobody else is fighting Kenneth Sims? Is it ironic? No one else, not using Subriel Matias, not fighting him. Who else not fighting him? Gary Antoine Russell, isn't he the next big thing? Why he not fighting him? Why is Arnold Barboza not fighting him? Why is Tio not fighting him? Why is nobody fighting Kenneth Sims? Oh, maybe he is a good fighter. Maybe, just maybe, right? So, again, and people stuck on that Mayweather shit. Yo, you got to be undefeated. You got to be undefeated. You got to be undefeated. Yo, losses happen, bro. This happens. Yo, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Bernard Hopkins get knocked out in his pro debut or something like that? I don't know. I know he lost his pro debut, but I think he got knocked out. Henry Armstrong lost his pro debut. Like, losses happen. We got to get out of this mind frame where you have to be undefeated. But yeah, man, I know I went off on a rant, but I just don't like how PBC is promoting or moving Elvis Rodriguez. I just hope that they see the vision and they go, wait a minute, this kid is good, man. This kid is really good. Let's put him in position. Let's fight him 3 times a year, especially after you only fought him once last year. When you don't get paid unless you fight. You fought 1 time last year, so that's the only time you got paid. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you guys you realize that mistake and go, you know what? We're going to give you 3 or 4 fights this year. 1, the more you fight, the more notoriety you're going to get. 2, the more you fight, the sharper you're going to stay. 3, the more you fight, the higher you're going to get up in the rankings. Okay, you beat this guy, or you rank number 15. All right, you beat that guy, now you're ranked number 8. All right, you beat that guy, now you're ranked number 3. All right, you beat that guy, now you're the mandatory. You know what I'm saying? If you fight him 3-4 times a year. I just I don't get what they're doing over there at PBC. I really don't. And again, I'm not bashing PBC, and I think they're doing a good job with everybody else. I think they've done a good job with Michel Rivera. I think they've done a good job with Carlos Adames and Garcia. Look, Garcia hopefully still has this opportunity with Tank, but in regards to Elvis Rodriguez, they've done a poor job, and I'm comfortable saying poor, a terrible job, to be honest with you, because I think he is an A++ prospect that they have not prioritized. They've just looked at him like just a regular old fighter who we're just gonna throw on cards, and they're not getting let's put it like this: the way that they were promoting Rayo is how they should be promoting Elvis. Because all right, they both got 1 loss, but one guy got beat from pillar to post and knocked out. The other guy just lost a decision to Kenneth Sims, who's a good fighter, and lost a majority decision and didn't even get dropped. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna get off that unless anybody else wants to talk about it, but I'm gonna get off that. I'm gonna get back on track to talk about what the title of the show is. Is Gervonta Davis getting arrested? I heard the TMZ had put out the 911 call with the girl screaming, like she send help, saying like she feels like he's gonna kill her and this, and she was with her baby. Again, I don't know the specifics of the case, so I really don't want to touch on it too much because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. You may ask me, all right, well, was she hurt? Was she bleeding? Was bruised? Was there cuts? Was there broken bones? Or I don't know. I really don't know. So I don't want to comment on something that's too much. But but yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like I don't want to touch a touchy subject like that. You can get yourself in trouble talking about something that's dangerous like that. I'm gonna put the link in the chat if anybody wants to call in. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to give you guys the opportunity, whether it be to ask me a question or vent about a certain situation. Maybe you got your tickets to the Davis Garcia fight and you're disappointed about it. You can definitely click that link and you can call in. We can have that conversation. Or if you want to talk about Elvis Rodriguez, maybe you're as upset as I am in regards to how PBC has been promoting him, and you see the vision I see. Click that link. I pinned it to the top of the chat, you guys click that link, takes you to a website, and I'll answer any question you guys want. But one thing is that when I spoke to Tank on the Twitter space, he told me he was doing his training camp in California. I believe he said LA, if I'm not mistaken, and he got arrested in Florida. I found that a bit surprising. I'm not sure if he was maybe he switched where he was going to do his training camp, or if he went to Miami real quick to handle some situation, or I don't know the status. But what he had told me on the Twitter space was that he was training in LA, California. So I'm curious as to why the change, or maybe he switched it last couple weeks to adjust to the time. Because the fight's a week out, so maybe it was that. I don't know. Yeah, man, Rod. What about Haney capping on Hector Garcia? Yo, Haney. All right, so anybody who doesn't know about the situation, right? Devin Haney was saying how Tank, I like a lot of people thinking like, damn, he talking shit about Hector, and technically he was, but I think he was just more trying to trash Tank's resume, saying, oh, Hector's a tune-up because when they were in training camp, he was beating him up so bad. He was beating Hector up so bad he kicked him out of training camp. Now, does that sound believable to you? Now, listen, could he have gotten the better of Hector? Yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, that's not what Hector told me. And I got video footage from July before he came out and saying that. I got video, and I'm going to play it right now. So you guys, for anybody who thinks I'm lying. So I got video footage from July of Hector telling me a totally different thing. So it just doesn't sound realistic. So you saying you had to kick Hector out. I like Bob Santos' response. He's like, wait a minute, you had to kick him out, a world champion, an Olympian who had over 300 amateur fights. He's like, all right, you kicked him out. All right, who did you bring in? Errol Spence? Like, who's a better southpaw than Garcia? Again, that maybe you got the better of him in a sparring match. I mean, again, that's not what Hector told me, and I don't know Hector to be a liar, so I'm gonna believe him. But I'm not going to say it's out of the realm of possibility you got the better Hector in sparring, but the fact that you was beating him up so bad that you had to kick him out of training camp, nah, come on, man. It's one thing to lie, but damn, bro, make it believable. Make it believable. Like, that's a little too much of a lie. Hold on one second. Let me see if I could find the. Yeah, I found it. All right. Hold on one. All right. There we go. Just all right. This is Hector Garcia talking about how Dominicans at the time. This is when he was training with Ismael Salas. He was saying like at the time, Dominicans run that Ismael Salas gym. Like, like they had Puello Adames and himself, and he was saying like, yo, we doing our thing. So this is him. This is my video, by the way. This is him talking about how he sparred Devin Haney and he got the better of Devin Haney.
Que sí, que la tienes, mentira, nosotros la tenemos, nosotros lo explotamos y no vuelven más. Por eso es que el gimnasio de Sala, en verdad, merece respeto. ¿Por qué? Porque nosotros los dominicanos no decimos que no nos quejamos, siempre estamos positivos, ¿me entiendes? Si viene de Michel, Rolly, que son, no, come on, vamos, ¿me entiendes? Y le metemos la mano.
¿Usted ha hecho sparring con Devin Haney?
Sí,
Y Rolly.
hice sparring con David Hain. El primer sparring fue pareo y el segundo sparring yo le saqué mucha ventaja y para el tercer sparring no me llamaron.
Wow. Yeah. So you see what he said? He says they sparred 2 times. He got the bet. He said the first time it was pretty even, which sounds about right. And he said the second time he was too much for Devin, and they didn't want to spar a third time. Now, again, that to me sounds more believable. You're not gonna kick somebody out in camp because he's too easy. You kick somebody out of camp because he's too hard. Or sometimes you'll tell a guy, yo, these are the 2 reasons why you may kick somebody out in camp. Well, 3 reasons. 1, the guy's a bad influence. He, and by bad influence, maybe he talks too much to him in the gym and he doesn't train as hard, or they go out partying or whatever. That's not the case. They don't even speak. Hector doesn't even speak English, so we know Hector is not a bad influence on Haney. So that's not why he got kicked out the camp. Second one is somebody got knocked out. That's not even what Haney said, so we know that's not all right. And the third one is, yo, the guy was too much for you, and that's what Hector was saying there. And again, I know Hector personally. I got his number. I talk to him on the regular. I don't know him to be a liar. I've never caught him in a lie. Never, not once. So I'm going to go by the guy who I know personally and what makes sense to me. Like, that's just what makes sense. A guy get the better of you, beats you up. You go, wait a minute. I don't want to get beat up. I don't want to get touched up. I'm gonna stay away from this guy. This guy, he's a little too much for me. That sounds a little bit more realistic. Or another reason why you could get kicked out is maybe he was fighting dirty and hitting you low and you behind the head, and you keep telling him to chill. He keeps doing it, which is not what Haney said. So you get what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not believable. You're not gonna tell me that you dominated Hector Garcia so bad that you had to kick him out of camp. You can say you got the better of him. And again, that's not what Hector said, but you can say that. I could believe that. Maybe he saw it a certain way, Hector saw it a certain way. But for you to say you beat him up so bad you had to kick him out of camp because he was no competition, come on, bro. Come on. If you're gonna lie, don't lie like that. That's a little that's you taking it a step too far. That lie is a little too crazy. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't think he was doing that to take a shot at Hector. I think he's trying to downplay Hector. Yeah, that's a tune-up for Tank. That's a tune-up for Tank. So if Tank beats Hector, he could be like, I already said that. I told you that was an easy fight. I told you that was a tune-up for him. That way, that win on Tank's resume doesn't look like how it should look, where it's like, oh no, Hector's a real dude. We saw that in the Chris Colbert fight, how he dominated and dropped him. We saw that in the Roger Gutierrez fight, where he dominated the fight 10-2. You know what I'm saying? We saw those in those fights. Listen, in those 2 fights, by the way, Chris Colbert was ranked number 5 in the Ring magazine, and Gutierrez was ranked number 3 in the Ring magazine when those fights happened, by the way. In those fights, I gave Colbert 1 round in the first fight, in the fight against Hector, and I gave Gutierrez 2 rounds. So in 24 rounds, I had him losing 3 rounds. So you're not going to tell me that you boxed his ears off so bad and you dominated him so bad you had to kick him out of training camp. You guys, I don't know who you guys believe. Maybe you guys, he's Dominican, that he's being biased. No. Think about what I'm saying. In 24 rounds against 2 top 530 pounders, he lost 3 rounds. Do you think he's going to get dominated so bad that he can't compete with Haney? That I hope because my fan base is kind of a knowledgeable fan base. I hope y'all ain't fall for the okie doke. And if y'all did, hopefully this video of me showing you Hector's account of it and me explaining to you how that doesn't sound realistic, get that out your head. Like, bro, there's no way that happened. And then, by the way, Hector went on Ellie Sexback's channel and said, what are you talking about? He's like, yo, you can't crack an egg. He goes, my daughter hits harder than you. Like, really talking that shit. talking that shit. Like, what are you talking about? And he told him, he goes, yo, matter of fact, after I beat Tank, you could call up Al Heyman and Louis the Cubas, and I could fight you next. Talking his shit. Shout out to Hector, man. Not backing down, not changing his story, saying he's with all the smoke. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that fight happens. I hope I hope the fight with Tank happens. And then if the fight with Tank happens, I hope that's the next fight. Because a lot of people saying, hey, listen, man, even if Tank loses to Hector, I think the fight with Ryan still happens. A lot of people telling me that. And there's history of that. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, Eric Morales lost to Zahir Rahim and went on to fight Pacquiao in his next fight. Pacquiao was waiting on that fight. He was I'm gonna fight Morales because he's gonna beat Rahim. Rahim beats Morales, and Pacquiao's team was like, all right, I can fight Rahim and I'll probably beat Rahim, but why? When I can fight Morales and make way more money. So he fought Morales right after that. Like, yeah, so like that's what happened. That as far as back in those days. So it's not out of the realm of possibility of, let's just say Garcia beats Tank. You know, it's a tall task. I'm not gonna act like this is a foregone conclusion. It's a tall task to climb. But if he beats him, it's not out of the realm of possibility. He just goes, you know what? Instead of rematching you, I'm just gonna go on to this big fight with Ryan. And then if that happens, Garcia's available. He's gonna have that WBA regular, enforce that WBA mandatory, and go, yo, man, I want that. I want to fight for those straps. That would be something I would love to see. Love to see, man. You imagine that happens. He beats Tank and Haney in back-to-back fights and becomes undisputed undisputed in the lightweight division. Listen, that fight will never happen. I don't listen. I'm just being realistic. One, Haney says he's moving up after fighting Loma, which the fight isn't happening. So we'll see if that fight happens. And two, if he does stay at 135, you know, the PBC top rank, you know, Cold War, if you would, they're not going to risk him losing to Hector and those titles going to PBC. And now Hector gives a shot, you know, to all the PBC lightweights, whether it be, you know, I mean, I don't know if Pitbull's a PBC guy. He's with Sean Gibbons or you know, Frank Martin. Who else is on the lightweights at 135? I mean, Michel Rivera just is coming off a loss. But whatever. Point is, they'll keep those belts on the PBC side. So I doubt Top Rank could do that. I doubt it. I think they'll just be like, hey, just move up. Just move up. Yeah. I already talked best dad ever. I already talked about Devin saying he whooped Hector. I don't believe it. I don't. Tell Hector to start bringing out the DR flag, something Michel doesn't do. Nah, the thing is with Michel, he forgot it, man. It wasn't that. Nah. Yo, listen, Michel's my guy, bro. That's my dude, man. Me and him, we got a great relationship. Nah, man. He represents, man. He represents the Dominicans, and I don't care that Michel lost. And yes, he did lose in dominant fashion to Frank Martin. And shout out to Frank Martin, full credit to him. But, you know, us Dominicans, we still support Michel and we still love Michel. And I'm not sure if he's watching because he does watch. He needs to know that. We love and support Michel Rivera, whether he lost or whether he won or was a draw. You know, he's a Dominican and we love him. And yeah, sure, he lost, but that's fine. You know, he'll be back at it, man. You know, he'll be back at the lab. That guy works too hard to quit, man. He's gonna become a champion. He's gonna become a champion. Out of all the Dominicans, there's nobody that works harder in the gym. There's nobody, and I'll put his reputation up against anybody. When I talk to everybody, like when I talk to Adames and Garcia and all these guys, like in private conversations, you know, they all tell me, man, that guy's a monster in the gym. He loves the gym. He works hard. So yeah, he lost to Frank Martin. Frank Martin was the better man that night. Shout out to Frank Martin. Congrats. Full credit to him. But he'll be back. He'll be back. He works too hard for him not to become world champion. Do you think Erickson Garcia is a legit title contender? I need to see title challenger. Excuse me. I need to see Erickson Garcia against somebody I know. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to make evaluations of guys when you fight in journeyman I never even heard of. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen Garcia fight. He's a good fighter. He actually was helping Michel Rivera spar in this past camp for Frank Martin. So he also sparred Regis Prograis to get ready for Jose Zepeda. So he has a lot of sparring experience. I like Ederson Garcia. He doesn't fight on TV, doesn't fight on DAZN, doesn't fight on ESPN, doesn't fight on Showtime. He needs to get some of these looks, and he also needs to get some of these looks against some significant people. I don't think the thing is, he has like these like regional belts, but every time I look at the rankings, he's not on it. Usually when you get a regional belt, you end up being ranked. Ederson Garcia, he's a fights at 130, although he says he's willing to move up to 135 for the right situation. Yeah, I'm looking at the rankings. All right, he's not ranked in the WBC. He's not ranked in WBA. Not ranked in the IBF. And not ranked in the WBO. Yeah, he's not ranked in none of the sanctioning bodies. He needs to work on that a little bit, man. He needs to work on that. I remember he was on Instagram calling out Henry LeBron. Henry LeBron, he was calling him out. My man L Dub Boxing. Shout out to Bug, man. That's my guy. Definitely a legit source, man. He's a great follow on Twitter. Bug Williams, man. Go follow him on Twitter and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He definitely breaks down the rankings every time they go. He has a very important a YouTube channel for boxing fans, especially the hardcores who like to get in the nitty-gritty of the inside things. He's someone who compares the previous rankings to the current rankings. He looks at everything and makes sure, like, oh, okay, this guy wasn't ranked before, this guy's ranked now. This is the fight that most likely is going to happen. You know, he's really good at that. So I love his channel. So if you guys haven't checked it out, please do. Oh, what do you think of Rohan Polanco making his debut with Top Rank? I think that's listen. I know most of you guys are Dominican, so I know for some of us it's hard for us to like really get behind Top Rank because Adames takes one loss, gets cut. Elvis takes one loss, gets cut. So like for us Dominicans, a lot of us like, we don't rock with Top Rank, but we got to be honest, man. Just seeing how they moved Elvis, and I'll be honest, I don't think Rohan Polanco is as promotable as Elvis. I don't think he's as good on social media, nor does he have that kind of knockout power that Elvis does. But the way they were moving Elvis shows me that they can figure it out. They can figure it out. Also, they do a lot of events in New York. I think that also Top Rank likes to promote a lot like based off race, which I think at times is lazy, but listen, we starting up a movement here where we have a Dominican community where you guys know that when y'all come on here, y'all can ask. Look, somebody asked me about Ederson Garcia. You ask that on any other YouTube channel. Who the fuck is that? You could come on my channel. We could talk about that. So Rohan Polanco, you guys are asking me about him. Okay, if he starts fighting in New York, we could start pulling up to the fight, supporting him. They do a lot of events at the Hulu Theater, and that's kind of what we need. We need like a small event to prove, no, we come out and support. And if they can move him right, Rohan Polanco's a welterweight. You imagine, let's say we move him right, he becomes a welterweight champion. That's one of the glamour divisions. All right, now he's a welterweight champion. Now he's fighting, big fights. Look who, let's say he becomes champion. Hypothetically speaking, look at the guys, the young guys. There's Boots, there's Virgil. These are big fights that he can get in the future. Bring it to the Madison Square Garden, little room or the big room. You know what I'm saying? They bring a lot of events to New York where the Dominicans are at, and then we can go out en masse and support him. So I like that. I like that. But we'll see how they treat him. We'll see how they treat him. I know a lot of you guys are negative on Top Rank, but I'll see. I'll see. Chicken Talk, my man Lefty. Shout out to Lefty, man. If y'all don't follow him on Twitter, y'all really slacking. If y'all have Twitter and y'all boxing fans, y'all really missing out if y'all don't follow Lazy Lefty OG on Twitter. Like that's a must follow if you're a boxing fan. Also, type that in, Chicken Talk, to your YouTube search engine and subscribe to his channel. He posts a lot of interviews that he has on Twitter and brings it to his YouTube channel. And he has the fans ask questions, including me. I'm including myself in. I'm one of the people that often shows up and asks questions. And we've interviewed Demetrius Andrade, Stephen Fulton, Frank Martin, Gervonta Davis, and all that. So he's a must follow on Twitter and definitely a must subscribe on YouTube. So definitely go. De Los Santos has to move very quick. Okay, his feet to land shots on Frank. Edwin De Los Santos, I know he's known as a knockout artist and this and that, and yes, that is who he is. He is a knockout artist. He is a power puncher. The guy can box too, man. The guy got fast feet. He knows how to box. It's just, when you got that power, sometimes you want to just slug it out. And I think he wanted to make a statement against Rayo. I think Rayo was known as this murderous puncher who's knocking everybody out, was coming off a first round knockout of Francisco Vargas. And he kind of was like, this you think this guy hits harder than me? I think that he came into that mentality like, what? All right, so that's it. Let's see who hits harder. Let's see who and just went and fucking banged with him and proved who was the harder puncher. And but the guy can box. Believe me, the guy can box. Trust me. The guy got skills, man. The guy can move. The guy got good feet. He knows how to do angles and he punches with both hands. He's knocked people. I've seen him knock people out with left hand with one shot. I've seen he hurt. He ended up stopping Raya with a left hand. But if you look at throughout the fight, what was really fucking Rayo up was that right jab and that right hook. So he has power in both hands. He's 15-1 with 14 knockouts. So the guy can crack. And a lot of people get focused on that, but the guy got good feet. And if Frank Martin thinks like, he's just going to use angles and spin around and do this and do that against Edwin De Los Santos, and De Los Santos is not going to be able to catch up with the feet. He's getting in for a rude awakening. And that's a great fight. I would love to see that next, matter of fact. Frank is not getting no Tank fight. I know he won a WBA eliminator. He's not going to get no Tank fight. He's not going to get no a Devin Haney fight. So why not fight De Los Santos? De Los Santos don't got nothing popping right now. I would love to see De Los Santos in with either Frank or Pitbull Cruz. Or even Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur doesn't seem that motivated to fight De Los Santos. I'm not saying he's ducking him. I'm just saying doesn't seem interested. El promotor de Jermaine Ortiz le pidió el contrato a Shakur y no ha dicho nada a Shakur. He's saying that Jermaine Ortiz promoter has asked for a contract for Shakur, and Shakur hasn't said anything. I don't think that's true. Shakur Stevenson and Jermaine Ortiz have the same promoter in Top Rank, so I'm not sure who you're talking about. But what I will say is, if the Japanese guy Yoshino turns down the Shakur fight, the next in line is Jermaine Ortiz, and they'll be fighting for the WBC eliminator. So we'll see. And Jermaine Ortiz is on record as saying that he's willing to fight Shakur if that fight gets presented to him. So I gotta have on Jermaine Ortiz on my channel. Maybe I'll have him on after I lost track. You ever thinking something, then read a comment and it slips your mind? What was I talking about? Oh, Jermaine Ortiz. I don't know where I was going with it, but yeah, he's willing to fight Shakur. I know that for a fact. I got to get him on my channel. That's what I was talking about. I got to get him on my channel. After the holidays, I'm going to hit up his uncle to set that up for me because I definitely want to see that. Did you see the video YSM Sports put up with Giancarlo Rivera, who Bozy and his trains? He was asked about his sparring session with De Los Santos. It sounded like he was getting the better of Edwin. I did see that, and I do know the background of what happened at that sparring session. The only thing I will say, because again, there's certain things that told to me in private conversation that I can't bring on camera. But the only thing I will say is, yo, shit happens in sparring. Like, believe me, there's video of Paul Spadafora beating up Floyd Mayweather in sparring. Okay, now everybody watching that, I got 38 people watching. Is Paul Spadafora better than Floyd Mayweather? Like, no, right? No. So things happen in sparring. You know, like you never know. So somebody could, you know, had a bad night's sleep. Somebody could be working on their jab. Somebody may have had a hand injury but still wanted to get the work. Somebody, you know, may have came from a long ride, didn't stretch out. Listen, sparring, there's a lot of variables. A fight is totally different. You know, this guy, Giancarlo Rivera, you think he's going to do that to De Los Santos, who has a full training camp and is game planning for him specifically and watching tape and have sparring partners mimic what he does and he trains specifically? All right, now we're going to fight after 8-week training camp of me studying you. Is that going to, you think? So I wasn't there at the sparring. I know what happened. But yeah, don't take too much out of sparring. It's not nothing, believe me. Sparring, I'm not gonna say sparring is absolutely nothing. If you knock somebody out with one shot in sparring, that's something. But that's not what happened. Nobody got knocked out. Nobody got dropped. He may have gotten the better of him, and but things happen. Things happen in sparring, bro. Believe me. Believe me. By the way, a quick story. My father, he used to be in Gleason's gym often, and back when you know, Felix Trinidad used to come do his last 2-3 weeks training camp in Gleason's gym in Brooklyn, and he used to watch Tito spar. And he was like, yo, Tito used to get beat up in sparring. Like, I'm like, what? Like, he was like, yeah, Tito was a horrible sparring person. Like, he would just get beat up, and then in the fight, William Joppy, he's rattling his chiclets all over the ground. Like, he goes, I couldn't explain it. He goes, these C and D level fighters would get the better out of Tito Trinidad in sparring, and then Tito Trinidad would go out and look spectacular in his fight. So there's some guys who are just bad sparring people. Like, so there's a lot of variables to sparring. There's a lot of variables. But I do put it like this. I'll confirm Giancarlo Rivera did get the better of De Los Santos in sparring, but shit happens. Yeah, shout out to my man Danny Ramirez. All I gotta say is everybody press that like button. Broadway always comes with the great content. I appreciate that, Danny Ramirez. Also one of my favorite follows on Twitter. So if you guys are on Twitter, definitely go follow my man Danny Ramirez. But make sure if y'all gonna come at Danny Ramirez, come at Danny Ramirez with information on deck. He'll pull up an article from 2011 and screenshot it and throw it at you. He's a very knowledgeable boxing fan. So if you're gonna debate with him, make sure you come correct and you guys did your research and everything. That's all I'll say. He definitely knows his shit, man. But yeah. Any other questions about any other Dominican fighters? I'm willing to answer. Yeah. Elvis Rodriguez low-key looks like Tyson in that post on the wall. That's actually true. All right, my man, I haven't seen you in a minute. Aldi, que lo que, mi hermano? He wants to know about Puello. There's two names that I've heard circled around. I can't confirm which one is going to happen, but the two names that I've heard circled around is Rolly Romero is who I've heard, and Gary Antoine Russell. Now, the name that I've heard strongest rumored is Gary Antoine Russell. That's the name that I've heard that's a stronger, like more of a bigger possibility. But Rolly Romero just recently ended up in the WBA rankings at 140, and I believe he's ranked like number 8, like something real high. I don't know how you rank that high. Hold on, let me make sure. I like to be accurate. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just talk off the cuff like that. Wait. Oh no, it's the wrong division. Yeah, he's ranked number 9. So I don't know how he ranked number 9 in the WBA when you just got knocked out with one shot by Tank at 135, and you haven't even had a fight at 140. But whatever. From what I'm hearing, it's either gonna be Rolly or Gary Antoine Russell. I'm leaning Gary Antoine Russell, but again, Rolly's still like a wild card. And I think I may be biased. I think he beats both. I think Puello beats both. Saludos, great channel. Thoughts on De Los Santos versus Isaac Cruz? That could happen. Yes, that could happen. And I think De Los Santos power is too much for him. I honestly think that. Thing is, you can't, like, when you facing a power puncher, you can't just pressure him like that. Just rush on him and like run up on him. That's why one of the fights I was pushing for before was Subriel Matias versus Elvis Rodriguez. Everybody knows Subriel Matias as this murderous puncher who comes in and walks through punches, and it's like, that's cool. And listen, Subriel Matias is a great fighter. I'm not here downplaying. But you rush in a puncher like Elvis, who's right uppercut and right hook is vicious and nasty and accurate. I think he'll knock him out. So same thing with Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz, good fighter, rushes in, pressures, and likes to make the fight. And you do that with a fighter who can crack like De Los Santos. He catch you wrong, you could get knocked out. Now, I know what you guys are gonna say. He rushed and pressured Tank, and Tank is a vicious puncher as well. Tank did have an injured hand, and listen, De Los Santos can crack. I'm not gonna say he hits harder than Tank because I want to say Tank. I don't want to say Tank definitely has the better resume as to who he's knocked out, but De Los Santos, I feel like he'll get him out of there. I'll just say that. I think De Los Santos will knock Cruz out. I think he's gonna be pressuring, and then realize, like, wait a minute, like, damn, this guy can hit. And he's either gonna slow down, change his game plan, try to box and get knocked out, or he's just gonna keep rushing and get clipped by just one shot and just get out of there. I got De Los Santos winning that. I do. Ooh. I hope we get Isaac Cruz versus Lemos next. I think that would be a great fight. If y'all don't know who's Gustavo Lemos is one of those hidden gems from Argentina who a lot of people don't know. A lot of people like, Gustavo Lemos, who's that? Gustavo Lemos is a vicious, murderous guy who comes forward and brawls and knocks people out, man. He reminds me a lot of Marcos Maidana, Lucas Matisse, more so Maidana than Lucas Matisse, but he reminds me of that mold, like that aggressive, tough, Argentinian guy. And by the way, those comparisons to those fighters is not because they're from the same country. Honestly, he does remind me a lot of what those guys do. And we all know Isaac Cruz is a pressure fighter, an aggressive fighter. That's a fight. I put it like this: depending where it is, I want to see that fight live. That may be fight of the year. That may be fight of. I would be shocked, absolutely floored if that fight went 12 rounds. Somebody going to sleep. I would love that fight. That's a great suggestion. Gustavo Lemos Cruz. That's a nasty knock him out, drag him out fight, man. Yeah, man, Huey. Yeah, man. He's very good. He's very good. I love that fight. I love that fight. But Lemos hasn't fought in a minute though. When's was his last fight? Hold on, let me see. One because listen, I think he's a very talented fighter, but you know, at some point, ring rust got to kick in. I don't. He's ranked number 10 in box rec, which honestly take that with a grain of salt. But I'm just letting y'all know. Yeah, he hasn't fought since March when he knocked out Lee Selby in the 5th round. Yeah, so that's quite a while. That's coming up on a year of him not fighting. So, but he's ranked number 1 in the IBF, and if he fights Isaac Cruz, that'll be for IBF eliminated to be the mandatory for what's his name, Devin Haney. Although Devin Haney will move up, but it could be that they could make that for like an IBF interim, right? And then when Haney moves up, they just make him the full champion. Like, you know, these sanctioning bodies, they get creative like that once somebody's unified and they, you know, they don't want to, they understand that the guy can't make 4 mandatories in one day. So they'll just do things like that, like their version of the WBA regular for lack of a better term. Starling Castillo needs to get some wins so he can come back on Showtime. He would be a great addition to the lightweight division. Yeah, Starling Castillo, he went to DR, had a couple fights. He fought another undefeated fighter in Dominican Republic, and he had a draw. I mean, that would have been a good look on his resume had he been able to pull off a win where he could say, "Hey, man, I beat an undefeated fighter. I deserve to be back on Showtime." But from what's his name? Samson had told me, seemed like he wasn't taking the sport too serious, unfortunately. But I remember when he knocked who was it he knocked? He knocked somebody out. Oh, I think it was the Miguel Contreras knockout. Like he knocked him out cold. I forget what fight it was, but he did him dirty. Then goes on, beats Juan Carlos Burgos, the guy who everybody wants to give credit that, what's his name? Keyshawn Davis beat, but then loses a tough fight to Erosian, who I want to see next. I want to see him again. He was very entertaining. Kind of like, Castillo kind of like blew his gas tank, goes on to fight a guy who's 2-8 in Jorge Luis Torres. Then again, fights an undefeated fighter in Kenny De Leon, who I've heard is a good fighter, but then has a draw. Had he got the win, I'm sure he could have got back on Showbox, but now he's coming off a draw. I don't know how much Showtime is going to want to invest in somebody like that. I really do. I really don't. Man, Andy Cruz, from what I understand, he defected from Cuba. He's currently in the Dominican Republic. But I haven't heard who he signed with or what's his plans or who he plans to train with, who he plans to be promoted by, who he plans for him to be his manager, man. I would love to manage that kid, man. I don't got the kind of money, but I would love to manage. That kid got personality, got the amateur pedigree, and he got the skills, man. He does his good trash talking. He's very flamboyant in the ring, has wins. He's beaten Keyshawn Davis 4 times in the amateurs. 4 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, the type of confidence you have. Keyshawn Davis about to win Prospect of the Year. You coming into the fucking pros like I'm the guy who beat him 4 times in the amateurs. I'm the guy. The reason he's a silver medalist. He's coming out with his chest pumped out, man. I like Andy Cruz. I love Andy Cruz. I actually hit him up a few times trying to get an interview with him. He never got back to me, but I would love to interview him. I'm high on him. I think that kid is going to be good in the pros. He does have that defensive Cuban style, but it's more like, like slick, kind of like where it's entertaining. He's like, whoo, not like boring, like he's running around the ring. Like he has a great jab, fast hands. He moves around, uses his angles. I like him a lot. I would love to see him in the pros. And I also think that's a guy you can move quick. That's a guy that in his 7th, 8th, 10th pro fight, he could be in a world title fight. I'm that high on Andy Cruz. And if he was to come, that he'll be adding a spark to the to the lightweight division. That's another guy that, hey man, all right, where does he go? Does he go with Top Rank, who has experience with Olympians, has experience with Cubans, or does he go with PBC, for a potential opponent with Tank and De Los Santos and Frank Martin? Does he go with the Zone? The Zone, who they got? They got William Zepeda. He's on Golden Boy. He fights on the Zone. Jojo Diaz. They got who else they got? I think Maxie Hughes is over there too. But whatever. Point is, he has options. I like that guy. Andy Cruz. I'm really high on him, man. And if he signs with Top Rank, they could play off that rivalry with him and Keyshawn Davis. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, again, he's coming in with his chest pumped out. At least I would. Like, that's the prospect of the year. The guy I beat 4 times, and then in his biggest fight in his amateur career, I beat him for the gold medal, was doing Michael Jackson dances and stuff. That's your prospect of the year? I'm prospect of the year. That's the way I would come out with my chest pumped out. But, we'll see. We'll see who he signs with. I hope he makes the right decision. I really do. I hope he doesn't sign with some miscellaneous, like, German promoter. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we've seen Olympians do some weird shit like that. So let's see what happens. William Foster is great too at lightweight. Beat Santos and Avery Sparrow this year. Can't wait to see his return. Hopefully it's on Showbox again or somewhere I can watch it. Absolutely. William Foster, right? Because at the time he beat De Los Santos didn't have quite the buzz that he does have now. But the fact that, I don't know if he's with PBC. I don't know who he's with. But the fact that people haven't gone, oh, wait a minute, he beat De Los Santos. All right, let's move him a little bit more. Surprises me. I definitely want to see William Foster fight more. I want to see him fight on big cards or not big. Well, he has, big cards. Why not? But by the way, I think he's a 130 pounder. He's not a 135. I know you said lightweight. He's a 130 pounder. 130 pound division is pretty wide open. You got Hector Garcia at the top of it, who I think is the number 1 guy, which is not an easy fight. Believe me, I'm not. When I say wide open, I'm not saying there's not like it's not stacked like 140 or 135. But then you got Oscar Valdez, who's a good fighter. I don't want to say he's a world beater. You got Gutierrez. You got I think Colbert moved up. You got Rakimov. Cordina. Joe Cordina's a good fighter. You got it's wide open. I would love to see William Foster fight more, especially knowing he beat De Los Santos, who's a great fighter, man. So yes, I do want to see William Foster. Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna hit up Subriel Matias's promoter, man. Subriel Matias promoter told me he'll allow Subriel Matias to interview with me once he has a fight lined up, and he's fighting, I believe, February 11th against Jeremias Ponce from Argentina for the vacant IBF 140-pound title. That fight may be fight of the year. That fight, there's no way that fight's not a nasty brawl where both of them are bleeding. Like, this isn't an easy fight. Just because you don't know, and I'm speaking the proverbial you, just because you don't know who Jeremias Ponce is, doesn't mean that dude ain't shit. Believe me, that dude is nice. He's a nasty body puncher. He jabs. He has a nice power jab. He does it even from the inside. And that fight may be a fight of the year type candidate. Is that big of a fight? Unfortunately, neither fighter is very known, but again, you win fight of the year, you know, your name will come up, and that could be a potential opponent for Puello. You know what I'm saying? Let's say Puello fights Rolly next. I'm making that again. That's one of the two possibilities I mentioned. But let's just say he fights Rolly. Subriel Matias fights Ponce. All right. Well, Subriel Matias wins. Puello beats Rolly. Why not make that a unification? That right there, that's on the PBC side, WBA, IBF. Make that a unification. Now, the winner of that fight, you got Puerto Rico versus DR. You can throw that in New York. You know what I'm saying? You know Puerto Ricans are going to show up. You know Dominicans are going to show up, especially if that Ponce Subriel Matias fight becomes fight of the year. And then Puello beats a common opponent with Tank. Now the buzz level is high. I like that fight, man. I like that fight. Let me see. Yeah, Gary Antoine getting Puello. Yeah, I've heard that rumor. Again, that's the rumor I've heard strongest. I've heard that Gary Antoine is gonna fight Puello next, but I've also heard a rumor that is gonna be Rolly. And when you hear these rumors, I don't want to go out and say again. The stronger rumors that I've heard is that it's gonna be Gary Antoine. So I agree with you. But again, I have heard rumors that it's Rolly. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm okay with either fight. I would rather the Gary Antoine Russell fight. I kind of don't want to see Rolly in a championship fight after getting knocked out with one shot at lightweight at a division below. He moves up and his first fight is against a champion. I think that's a bit skipping the line. You know what I'm saying? Gary Antoine Russell has beat Posto and has beat what's his name? What's the Cuban's name? Bartholomew. Earned it a little bit more in the division that he's in. I want to see him get that shot. You know what I'm saying? But yes, Rolly is a possibility. Yeah, give me Puello versus Russell and Rolly versus Barroso as the co-main. I'm not against that. Barroso is ranked number 1 in the WBA. That way, that'll be somewhat like, hey, he's earning it. He look, I beat the number 1 guy ranked in the sanction about it. Not that I think Barroso is a world beater, but if we go on by the politics game of, all right, who's ranked in the position, I'm ranked number 8. I beat the number 1 guy. Now I deserve to fight you. So I'm not against that. That's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion. I just, again, man, with PBC, man, I wish they would bring more fights to New York when they fighting these Dominicans, man. These Dominicans, they need to be where their fan base is at. Like when I say they, I mean the promoters. They do that with everybody else. They put Mexicans in California and Texas. They put Puerto Ricans in New York. They put all these fighters in locations where there's people from their country. Why you guys are not doing that with Dominicans, man? And I'm telling you, the Dominicans are show out. The Dominicans never had a channel like this. Yo, there's people that DM me on Instagram and Twitter. Yo, bro, you're my favorite channel. Yo, bro, I was a casual boxing fan, but now that you educated me on the Dominican side, there's a kind of like nationalistic pride that now I only watch if there's a Dominican fight. So now I've created boxing fans. I've created a community, and they don't get it. They don't see the vision, and it's weird because I talk to people in the PBC side, man. I talk to people in the business, and just kind of seems like they don't trust that Dominicans are selling. I'm telling you, man, I'll make sure 2-3 sections are sold out. But you got to put us in a position where we fight in a competitive fight, not just some bum. I would love for them to make Charlo versus Adames at the Barclays Center with like Elvis on the undercard against Akhmadov. Woof. See, that's promoting. That's promoting. You got an aggressive, nasty Russian in Akhmadov against a nasty, vicious puncher in Elvis Rodriguez, right? On the undercard. Then you got 2 knockout artists in Charlo and Adames for a middleweight championship fight. I would love that. And you can also throw in Luis Reynaldo Nunez on that card. The 126 pounder, who I'm really high on. I think the guy is really talented. Put him in. Let's see who's at 120 because he's ranked in the WBA. Let's see who we throw Nunez in with. in my fantasy card. Let's see. Oh, Kiko Martinez, why not? He's ranked. He's ranked. Let's see. Yeah, why not Kiko Martinez? Throw him an old guy. Or Brandon Benitez. I don't know who's that, but hey, he's ranked number 15. Throw him in there. Nunez is ranked number 8. I would love to see, put it like that. There you go. That's my card. Luis Nunez versus Kiko Martinez. Then you got Elvis Rodriguez versus Batia Akhmadov. And then in the main event, you got Carlos Adames versus Charlo, and you do that on the eve of the Dominican Day Parade or something like that. Yo, we'll turn up. I'll make sure, me personally, I'll make sure at least 1,000 Dominicans show up. Just me. That's just me. And I'm telling everybody, yo, bring 3-4 guys. 3-4 guys. You know, bring your cousin, your mama, your wife, your kids. Make sure. Yo, that's what you call promoting. There's no way that fight. Listen, Kiko Martinez comes to fight. So does Luis Nunez. So that fight's going to be entertaining. Elvis Rodriguez is a nasty, vicious knockout artist. And Batia Akhmadov is an aggressive southpaw who comes to fight. So we know that fight's going to be explosive. And then the main event, you got Charlo versus Adames. Both those guys knock people out. Both those guys are entertaining. Charlo's a great trash talker. Listen, that's a car, and by the way, none of that I mentioned is like, damn, bro, that's too expensive. None of these guys, at least Elvis is not getting $1 million. Batia Akhmadov not getting $1 million. Neither is Nunez or Kiko Martinez. Yeah, I like that King Tug. Why not throw him in with King Tug? King Tug not gonna require a lot of money. The money at the middleweight division is a championship fight, man. A middleweight championship fight between Charlo and Adames. You're gonna have to cough up a good coin, but not even for Adames. Like Adames, he's not gonna require $5 million. That's a decent, reasonably priced card that you could put at the Barclays Center on the eve of the Dominican Day Parade, and boom, I guarantee you that's a success. Guarantee you that's a success. But I don't know. They'll make Adames Charlo and throw it in Texas, or they'll throw it in Florida or Minnesota. Like what? Like what are we doing? It's weird to me that me as a fan, as a journalist, I know what's a better look. I feel like, you know what it is. And this is it sounds like I'm picking on PBC, but I'm only talking PBC because they're the ones with all the Dominicans. So obviously. But it's all of them. I think there's a lot of like old people running these companies, and all the promoters, not just PBC. So I think they're not hip to the pulse of the people, or how to promote and how to use social media and how to do this and how to do that. Is like I don't think they know exactly what the people want, and that's something the people will want. Look. Everybody in the chat was saying how much they like that fantasy card. You know what I'm saying? Look, you know what I'm saying? I like this fantasy card. Hey, man, like, yeah, nice. Keep building brick by brick. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Like, because somebody, listen, you stack these Dominicans, right? Somebody may be going to go see Carlos Adames versus Charlo. They have no idea who Elvis or Luis Nunez are. I don't know who. I'm making believe. I don't know who those guys are. You know what I'm saying? I came to see Carlos Adames, but I'm going to watch the undercard. Oh, shit, this guy's Dominican. I'm going to root for him. Damn, what a knockout he got. Yo, what's his Instagram? Let me follow him. Boop. Oh, wait a minute. This guy, boom. Let me follow Elvis. And I was already following Adames. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hold on. Let me see if I could get my man to hop on. Yeah. All right. Hold on. I may have a special guest for you guys. You guys are in for a treat. Let's see if he could hop on. He just texted me. Let's see if he could hop on, because I definitely have a lot of questions. Woo! I'm excited. Oh, man. Let's hope he can hop on. Man. Uh, hold on one second. I'm texting him the link, so please do not leave because I may have a special guest for you guys, and he'll definitely answer all the questions we have. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second. Boom. But yeah, man, I just sent the link to a special guest. I'm not gonna say his name up until unless he joins us. Hold on. Yeah, all right. So I may have a special guest. Let's see. And he'll definitely be able to answer a lot more questions better than what I can. So hopefully he'll be able to hop on. Edwin De Los Santos versus Frank Martin. Make it happen. Yo, listen, I love that fight, man. I saw Frank Martin live against Michel Rivera, man. That dude looked sharp, man. He looked smooth. I love the angles he was using. Michel Rivera, whatever will happen in training camp, that's on Michel. You know what I'm saying? But even in my post-fight interview, he said, "Hey, it's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault." So, but hey, Frank Martin, let's not take nothing away. He looked super fast, was taking, spinning Michel, moving around, dodging, and was boxed a beautiful fight. I would love to see, and also it'll be Southpaw versus Southpaw, De Los Santos versus Frank Martin. I love that fight. Listen, you said make it happen. Yes, make it happen, please. I would love it. I would love it. I would be excited to see that. You know what I'm saying? And now Frank Martin is going to be ranked in the WBC because he beat Michel. Michel was ranked in the WBC, so he definitely has an opportunity to make that fight happen. It makes sense, both. All right, I'm not going to go to WBA route. You know what? I'll go to WBC route. Work your way up 2 rankings. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I love it. I love it. Santos has the most potential, man. I'm telling y'all. He has star written all over him. Yo, and not only that, Rojai, he is a very good trash talker. I wish he spoke English, but he's a very good trash talker. He talks that trash. He be trolling Shakur Stevenson on Instagram. Yo, one time, Shakur Stevenson went live and on his Instagram, and fucking Edwin De Los Santos was on there talking shit in Spanish, got him all riled up. Like, I really like Edwin. I like Edwin. He got power. He's explosive, good trash talker. I like him a lot. So yes, he does have star potential. And again, but to me, if you're asking me who has the highest star potential, I gotta go with Elvis. Again, he's also a knockout artist. I don't think obviously it's different divisions. I don't think he hits as hard as Santos. I think De Los Santos hits harder than Elvis in their respective divisions. But I think Elvis Rodriguez, again, from a marketability standpoint, the fact that he, good looking guy and is really good on social media, the fact that, and he has Freddie Roach in his corner. So like there's a lot of like variables to add to that with Elvis Rodriguez. So I think he's more, he has the most star potential, but unfortunately, PBC's not down. They don't know what they're doing with Elvis. They don't know, they don't know what they got. They don't know what they got. And I hope when that fight with Adorno happens, he scores a nasty, spectacular knockout to the point where they go, wait, we can't get this guy. Jeff, I see you asking, is the guest hopping on? I sent them the link. He didn't respond. Give me 1 second. Let me text him. Yes, Adorno is fighting Elvis next. Yeah, but they were supposed to be fighting on the Charlo Tim Tszyu undercard, but Charlo broke his hand, and that fight's not gonna happen anymore. Well, not that it's postponed. They're looking for what undercard to put it on. Hold on one second. All right. We'll see. What's this? It's a Stormy B Man says salute Broadway Joel. Finally caught you live. I've been sub for a few weeks. Very good work you're doing, man. I appreciate that, man. I really do. By the way, shout out to Chicken Talk. I won Content Creator of the Year. That award means a lot to me. It was voted by over 320 something people or something like that. And everybody had a choice as to who they thought was a content creator of the year. There was a lot of good content creators, and I came out as number one. You know what I'm saying? That does mean a lot to me, especially since the fact that most of the people who voted aren't Dominican. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people could be like, yeah, but it was a bunch of Dominicans voting. It's like, nope. Most of the people were just American, and they see the work I'm putting out, and they see that I'm out here grinding, and I won Content Creator of the Year, and that means a lot to me. You know, again, voted by the fans, so it means a lot to me. Shout out to everybody who voted. I see what y'all saying, that to have Tim Tszyu step in for Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison step in for Charlo, but I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to risk a Charlo fight by fighting Harrison. Like, to them is like, you know, we'll just wait it out. You know what I'm saying? I want my shot at undisputed. I don't want to risk my fight against a tough fight in Tony Harrison, lose, and then you never got the shot at undisputed. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not so sure about that. Thanks for the congratulations, guys. I really appreciate that. Again, and by the way, 2023, I'm coming strong, man. I'm coming strong and hard. I'm coming out here to represent. People gonna see my hard work, man. People gonna see me grinding, and my channel is definitely gonna grow. It's definitely gonna grow. It doesn't look like my guest is gonna be able to hop on. He hasn't texted me back, but I don't know if he went to shave or something. But he thing is, I was trying to get him on earlier, right? And he had told me he couldn't for specific. I'm not gonna say why. And then he hit me up while I was live, like, "Hey man, I'll hop on." And I'm like, "Damn, like I wish I would have known that before. I would have definitely had him on." But whatever. Yeah, man, Gustavo Lemos, man. Yeah, man, that's one of those hidden gems. Also, it's kind of like Jeremias Sponsor, who's also from Argentina. He's another one of those hidden gems. I'm not saying he's gonna beat Subriel Matias, but I'll tell you this much. He has a shot. He's legit. These are legit 50-50 fight. Like, it's not gonna be easy. These Argentinian dudes, they come out of nowhere. I remember when Sergio Martinez burst on the scene. He fought Kermit Cintron, and then he really knocked him out. He knocked out Kermit Cintron. That referee did a bunch of bullshit. He came onto the scene, was like, who's this Argentinian guy? Just like really just beating everybody up. Goes, fights Paul Williams. Had terrible, one of the scorecards was terrible. It was a close fight. I thought Martinez won, but it was a close enough fight where I was okay with Paul Williams getting the fight. The cards, but yeah, I believe it won Fight of the Year. He goes on, knocks out Paul Williams in the second fight. It's amazing. How these Argentinian guys just be bursting on the scene. The same thing with Marcos Maidana. He was supposed to be an opponent for Victor Ortiz, and they had one of the nastiest, vicious wars I've seen in a long time, and made him quit. Cut him, did all types of stuff, and made Ortiz quit, which is why he got that title of being a quitter and stuff like that. It was bad. It was bad. Bakram Murtazaliev is someone I want to see Zoo fight to stay busy. He's number 1 in the IBF, and I believe number 4 or 5 in the WBO. Maybe they could fight for the WBO interim. Yeah, I mean, it's so unfortunate because he hasn't fought since March. He hasn't fought since last time Elvis fought, because Elvis fought on his undercard in March. So it's unfortunate that he has to go through a long layoff or, make a fight. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But all right, guys, doesn't look like my guest is going to be able to hop on, unfortunately. But I appreciate everybody who stuck all the way through to the end. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out with the visibility of the channel, as well as, helps me out with the algorithm, helps me out, in many types of ways. So you literally just wiping your finger on the like button or wiping your finger on the subscribe button helps me out a lot. So if you guys can just go ahead, do that, and then go about your day, I will greatly appreciate that, man. But all right, guys, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who watched the video, stood all the way through to the end. I'll be on, I want to say, I don't know when's the next time I'll be live. The holidays, man, I'll be busy in the holidays. So it's hard for me to once January hits, I'm going to be going live more often. Y'all know how I'll be. I'll be going live doing the interviews, but a lot of people who I would interview are in holidays. I'm in the holidays. I'm moving around a lot, so it's been a little bit more consistent. Once January hit, believe me, I want that award of content creator of the year 2 years in a row. That's what I want. So I'm gonna be hustling once January hits. But all right, guys, that's my live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys. Peace.